Today I'm going to be taking you on one of the best entry-level trails in the state of North Carolina. It's nestled here in Uwharrie National Forest, located roughly an hour outside of Charlotte. I'm going to be using this stock 2024 Ford Bronco to do it, so let's go for a ride. Now, you don't really need a high clearance four-wheel drive, nor will you need selectable lockers for this trail. I do recommend having at least an all-terrain if you're planning on coming up to Uwharrie. If you're going to come up here a lot and want to get on some of the more aggressive trails, a mud terrain is a good idea because this clay can get very slick with a little bit of rain. That being said, this Bronco does have an all-terrain. It's running a Nitto Terra Grappler G3. It still has the factory sizing, so this is a 315/70 R17. This Bronco does have the Sasquatch package, so they already come with basically a 35 from the factory. I wanted to go with something that had really good wet weather traction. That was really important to me. This is actually my wife's Bronco. We live in southeastern North Carolina. We get a lot of rain, so wet weather traction was super important. These all-terrains have a lot of sipes. They don't weigh a lot. And another thing you got to be really mindful of for this sort of area is a lot of these rocks up here can be basically sharp as a razor blade. Yesterday I ran across a guy that had two giant slices in his sidewall from just going on an easy bypass trail. So you want to make sure you got a durable sidewall. Nitto's really known for that, because as you air down, you're going to get a bigger bulge in the side, and that can make the sidewall more susceptible to damage. So another sort of mark in the cap for a Nitto, but just in general, you need to really have a good durable tire for this. Highway radial is really not recommended for this area. In terms of airing down, a lot of that's going to be dependent on the vehicle. You know, for this, 17 psi is usually plenty for the type of trails that we're going to take it on. This thing's not doing anything extreme, doesn't have bead locks, so we're not going to drop it below 10 psi. Just for reference, that's kind of your limit. As low as you want to go is 10. Anything below that, you run the risk of actually de-beading the tire. So hopefully you'll know your vehicle. A good sort of rule of thumb is if you're a little worried you don't want to go too low, you can always get about to 18, see how that is. If you feel like the ride quality is good enough at 18 and steering feels good, oh, that's fine. If you still feel like the tire is bouncing off of obstacles and the ride is rough, just start going down from there. Just think of it quite simply as your tire is sort of like a basketball, and the more it's inflated, the more it's going to bounce off the obstacle. The less, well, it's just going to conform and ride a lot better. The trail I'm going to be showing you today is the TR69, also known as the Lakeview Trail. It's the newest trail in the Uwharrie National Forest, and it's one that's very easy to access. While there are a few trail map applications that list the trail, you can simply use Google Maps to take you right to the trailhead by typing in Art Lily Campground. You will need to purchase a season or day pass to get in the forest, which can be picked up at the El Dorado Outpost. From the outpost, it's around 6 miles to the trailhead, which looks like this. While the trail is technically not directional, I recommend starting from this location on U.S. Forest Service Road 516. Here, you can go ahead and shift into low range and start the 1.6 mile journey. The trail is rated easy and is wide enough for a full-size vehicle, though be warned, there are a few spots that you might get some scratches, especially at the end of the trail. If it's dry, your biggest challenge on the main portion of the trail will be exposed and loose rocks you'll find along the way. Some you can avoid, while others will require you to climb over. If this is your first time off-roading, it's a great idea to have an extra set of eyes outside of the vehicle so you'll ensure that you won't drive or run into something that could potentially damage your four-wheel drive. One thing that is unique to the Lakeview Trail is the fact that there are 3 optional play areas. This is the first of those 3. The vegetation has grown up significantly since I was here last winter, and it's going to make it a little bit more defined on a left and right line. Originally, you could sort of cross over some of the bigger rocks in the middle. Again, this is a completely optional area, so if you're not ready for it, don't worry about it. You can pass right by it. While it was fairly dry on this day, this trail can be significantly more difficult in the rain due to the clay base of the trail. While a little moisture will help keep the dust to a minimum, Pouring down rain or a few days of consistent rain can make these simple elevation changes a lot more difficult. A little fun fact here, the Uwharrie Mountains are said to be the oldest mountains in the world, and the highest peak is at the High Rock Mountain, which sits 1,188 feet above sea level. Once you enter this section of trail, the elevation changes become more pronounced. This is why I recommend having low range for this trail. This is probably a good time to talk about what type of vehicle I'd recommend for the Lakeview Trail. Aside from the optional areas, which I'll show more of in a moment, this trail isn't very difficult for something well equipped like this Ford Bronco. If your vehicle is all-wheel drive and you don't have a selectable transfer case, Subaru Outback owners, I'm looking at you, I would not recommend it. Could it be done? Sure. A skilled driver could probably navigate this trail in a stock two-wheel drive Ford F-150, but that's not something I want to advocate for. One of the reasons I feel this is such a great trail for beginners is that it gives you a good idea of just how your vehicle will react to ascending and descending off-road conditions. The rocks are just large enough that you'll need to pay attention to where you are placing your tire, and the scenery is fantastic. If you do get hooked on the four-wheeling bug, you can easily start moving up to more difficult trails since you are already in Uwharrie. Wolf Den would probably be my next option and a good trail to explore that's nearby. After that, if you want more, go check out Falls Dam. Both of those are great trails that are going to step you up incrementally, and they have a very close proximity to the Lakeview Trail. Now, the Lakeview Trail gets its name because you can just make out Baden Lake. It's much easier to see during the fall than it is the summer months, but it's there. As I mentioned earlier, there are 3 optional areas. The second one you see here is by far the most challenging. This section continues to change thanks to loose rocks and the elevation that it's on. High clearance, skid plates, locking differentials, and a winch, those are all going to be things that I would recommend if you're going to tackle this area. Not too far past this point, you'll find the last optional area on your left. It's the mildest and the shortest of the 3, but that boulder in the center will make navigating through it especially difficult for a wider vehicle. Moving past this, there's an area that allows for passing, and there's a bit of a rockier section on the right for those looking for more of a challenge. At this point, you are nearing the end of the trail, and we'll notice a few more pronounced signs letting you know that camping is not permitted in this area. Overlanders, don't fret, as this trail actually exits at the Art Lily Campground. So if you want to set up camp, you're in a great area for it. For those ready to try it again, or you just want to call it a day, you'll simply drive through the gravel parking lot that it exits you into and take a left onto 516. Well, that's it for this video. If you do have any questions, just drop them in the comments. If you want to see some stuff I'm working on behind the scenes, you can check me out at all social media at Ollie Mansour Editor. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope to see you on the trail. Take care.